Welcome everyone to the Watchlist, your virtual weekly TV guide right here on the Latin Nerds Network, ready to go over all the shows, documentaries, films released on streaming over the past week. Give you our best recommendations or non-recommendations, as the case may be. And of course, at the end of the show, let you know what's dropping so you too can create your very own watch list. Joining us as always live from Houston is Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. What it is, what it was, what it shall be.
What's going on, brother? What's happening?
Not much, not much. We got ready to dive into. We do a show in a few parts, a little news early on, let you know what's going on in the world of streaming. We jump into a quick takes, do a very quick reviews on a couple of shows that drop, and then we'll feature one or two shows at the end of it, of course. And at the end, we'll let you know what's coming out. We are gonna be out for a couple weeks. We're gonna return in 3 weeks, so we're gonna give you 3 weeks worth of stuff to add to your list potentially. A
Well,
lot
one
of
of us
stuff.
is out three
One of us is
weeks.
out 3 weeks, fair enough. I'll be watching some of the stuff, not everything. But that being said, a lot of stuff dropping on the next 2 weeks, big shows from all streamers. So looking forward to kind of go over that with you guys. But Chewy, that being said, let's get rolling, man. Let's start with a little piece of news, which you guys have may already noticed if you've tuned into your Amazon Prime. And not even Amazon Prime, with their deep pockets, are immune from raising rates. Dirty bastards, as everyone, Netflix and Apple's raised rates, and Disney like 8,000 times over the last 2 weeks, apparently. Oh, jacking up the rates. Amazon, of course, now introducing their ad. I guess your whatever you have now, it becomes an ad, tier, if you will. So if you haven't tuned in, next time you tune in, it will give you the option to switch over to the non-ad, and I think it's $3 a month. And
Two
for
or $3 a
I think
month,
it's like
yeah.
yeah, I think it's like
More.
yeah, $3 more additional, right, to get yourself off the ads. So I know Chewy's gonna stick with the ads because we know how Chewy rolls. Me myself said I hate commercials, so I'm gonna just I paid the $3. It is what it is. But yeah, so I mean I guess it's just par for the course too. I mean it is what it's cable now. It's all cable.
It's just another cable
It's
channel. That's all
it
it
really
is.
is, man. It's all there. I mean I know $3 in the grand scheme of things is not a lot, obviously. Was it $30 a year, $36 a year? But you add that on to
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
hey, you start nickel and diamond, and it ends up start
Right,
adding up
exactly.
pretty quick.
And Apple's gone up to what 15, but whatever it is, I don't know. And HBO Max and yada yada. Netflix has gone up a couple
Yeah.
times. I mean, you can obviously. I think most of them offer tad ad tiers to them, dropping those prices.
Yeah, I've got ads everywhere.
Chewy, God,
I have no shame.
Chewy saving that coin. But yeah, so
Anyway, I'm also paying for cable, so shut up.
fair enough. But so if you haven't noticed yet, next time you tune in, you'll see that option to turn off or turn on the ad
Mm.
feature on Amazon. So it is what it is. Chewy, let's go over just one before we get into this week's stuff. One show that ended, I
My
think, is
goodness.
worthy of a quick discussion on Disney
Mhm.
Plus. We rarely say it on this show, at least I do, in terms of we gotta discuss this show. And
No, you
that's
do, but you just had a payment and everything.
well, because it's not
Yeah,
good.
dude.
I mean, what am I? If it's not good, I'm not gonna
Uh,
talk about it, right? I mean, it is what it is,
oh
right? I
Lord,
throw
dude.
out the trash. I don't keep it in the house. I don't know.
Oh
Maybe
my
you keep it in
Lord.
the house. You
I've been to your house. You don't throw
maybe
away
maybe you
anything.
sell the
Good
trash to
God.
whatever. You keep it so you can
You just put it in the
you
garage,
can't even
dude.
afford it to take off the ad. So says it all. But that being said, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, of course, ended its 8 episode run. A show that I think surprised me anyway. I'm sure it surprised a lot of people. I know it's a big property, and numbers wise, I think it did better numbers than any of the Marvel and Star Wars shows, which kind of surprises me. I guess I didn't know Percy was.
Did it?
Yeah, Percy wasn't that. I didn't think it was that popular. Apparently, I guess. There
Well,
shows
we
how
were
much I
wrong.
know. But it's
Exactly.
like a really good show, very entertaining show. It's so far beyond what the movies gave us in terms of
Well, by
storytelling and all that.
far.
Yeah, and it's
The two movies, I believe,
yeah, I
right?
think
Was
yeah,
it two
a
or
couple of
three?
films. I never read the book, so I couldn't
Okay.
tell you. I couldn't compare. But
Mm.
I'm big into mythology. It's all very cool. Like the kids are really cool. It's entertaining, fun, and it's great for kids, but not dumbed down for the adults, which is always my
Mm.
biggest gripe with Disney sometimes. But I really
Mm.
enjoy it. This is one I think you guys should catch. A family if you haven't seen it. I'm sure you heard about it maybe because it's gotten a lot of praise online. Chewy, it seems like
So,
you agree with that.
no, yeah, man. Like I said, this is one I wanted to watch for quite a while. Wasn't into the
Mm-hmm.
books. Knew enough, right? I think I thought I saw the movie originally. It was okay. It was like terrible movie adaptation, but obviously when you're dealing with these type of very thick novels, I think. The show 8 to 12 episode treatment is a lot better. You can deep dive into character development, give us more of the story, be more faithful to the material,
Mm.
and obviously inspire where changes are made. And I think they made a couple changes at the end, from what I'm hearing
Mm-hmm.
on the last episode, on how things, and especially with the when he actually went to visit Zeus, so it was vastly different from the book. But still, I mean, I like what I saw. It was entertaining. It was fun. Good to see, Lance Reddick's last
I was about to
performance
tell you
before he
that. Yeah,
passed
I
away.
was about to tell you.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So they had the in memoriam for him. Obviously, he passed away, I believe, was it last year? Or yeah, it was definitely last year. We're in February.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Yes,
this one that
before
was in the can.
before John Wick came out, he passed like a couple weeks before.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So before the summer, so this is in the can for a while. Yeah, for 6 months before we finally saw his last performance. Uh, Edge from
Yeah,
WWE
that's
fame,
right. Yeah.
playing
A-
Hades,
Aries or Aries?
Ares.
Aries, I think.
Ares,
Aries, yeah, the
sorry,
God
sorry.
of War.
Ares
Yeah.
is the god of the world. Yeah, the god of war. So that was like, is that Edge?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
different. So good, but good performance from him, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you're in front of the camera with wrestling. You can definitely act a character and a part, and come up convincing. But the best part is obviously the kids,
Mhm.
right? Percy Jackson and who they got to play this role, and him being someone you can relate to, believable, uh, at times adorable, at times unsure of himself. But this is a kid, right? Who's trying to navigate between human and the mythological world per se. And obviously, this is when we talk about mythology, it's something we read probably back in English, back in our junior high school
Yeah.
days. But this kind of puts it in a fictional interpretation, which is fun to watch, right? And,
Yeah.
and I think that's the appeal of it, really.
Yeah, actually, I think they did a really great job with the show. So kudos to them, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have Disney join the conversation of the other streamers every so often
Mm-hmm.
on a non-negative note. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
That being said, let's get into the shows again.
The non-hating
Yeah,
notes. Oh, but
uh,
also has not been renewed for season two for whatever reason, which is a little surprising.
oh,
When streamers find a hit, they announce it
it will. I
immediately.
mean,
Well, I mean,
I'd be
you
surprised if
never
we don't get
know,
it. Like I
dude.
said, the ratings have
Hey,
been
hey, dude, they canceled Warrior. You never
fair
know.
enough, but
Okay,
I don't know. To be fair, I don't know the ratings to that show. To be fair, but at this one, the ratings are really good for the show. So
if they are what they say they are,
yeah,
there's no reason why
yes,
they
I'm
should
saying.
announce it
So
immediately and they start getting to work.
yeah, this Disney needs hits, right? What do you like the
Hmm.
shows? Don't like the shows? They need hits. We all know this, right? It's the numbers
Yeah.
don't lie.
Because their other show, like the Willow, didn't work
Oof,
out.
that was not a good show. Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of Star Wars have been
Um,
inconsistent. A lot of Marvel's been inconsistent, and
yes.
the numbers haven't been there as I'm sure as much as they would wanted it to. This
Hmm.
one had to have a good across the board consensus likable show with good ratings. So
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if they don't renew
They
it.
don't.
I hope so because
Yes.
I want to see this continue. It's really
I'll
cool.
be I'll
Yeah.
be shocked if
Yeah,
they
it's a
don't.
fun show, really good show. You guys should definitely check it out again on Disney Plus. This week, let's jump on there. Do a quick takes. We'll do a couple of quick takes here. The first one to let you take the lead in here, and that's Alexander, the Making of a God. It's a documentary series on Netflix. Kind of reminded me of Cleopatra, where part of it's like typical documentary
Yeah.
with experts and historians and etc. And then dramatization of
Hmm.
some of the acts, full acting and all
Hmm.
that. Chronicling the
Hmm.
life, of course, one of the greatest conquerors in history, of course, Alexander the Great. In his young age, a military genius, a tactician, I guess you want to say. I
Hmm.
think dropping 6 episodes. I want to say
Six
six
episodes.
episodes.
Yes. Hmm.
Chew, your thoughts? Is this on the watch list or not?
I say thumbs up. Yeah. I mean, the subject matter is interesting. Obviously, I'm really into historical figures, right? We've had Netflix has given us Cleopatra, which I enjoyed. There were some issues with the interpretation, whatever. It was still a
Yeah.
good story. They've had ones with the Byzantine Empire, and also one with the barbarians as well, which is the Roman conquest of Germania or Germany back in the day. But yeah, this follows along. It gives us good dramatization, give us interlacing with people with history backgrounds to give us context and give us expanded on the story, not just laying out dates and numbers and events, but kind of putting it into context and especially because this is dealing with his conquest of Persia, right? And how that went about. So interesting. Yes, thumbs up.
Agree. Thumbs up. Historians, one you add on the list, no doubt. The second one is Genius MLK slash X is an anthology series on Hulu, National Geographic, Disney, whatever. They're all part of the same group.
Mm-hmm.
This one, of course, is a dramatization, of course, of the two prominent figures in civil rights, right? Of course, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Obviously, we know their stories and how this one focusing on in the beginnings and how who they became, who they were, and why and how, and then of course the interactions. Dropping two episodes on I think an 8 episode run. Good. I enjoyed it. I think it was great. It's solid. It goes back and forth between X's life and MLK's life and when they're young. So we haven't gotten to the real meat of their story yet, but it's solid. Entertaining. I enjoyed it. I expected maybe a little bit more, to be honest with you. I kept thinking of Godfather of Harlem.
Ah,
Yeah, Forrest
I was
Whitaker
gonna
is
say
gonna
that.
pop up every so often. But
I was
that being
gonna say
said,
that.
put on the list. It's not.
That's coming. That's coming.
It's coming. Not great, solid on the list. Chewy.
Yep, agreed on the list.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess it wasn't bad. This.
But yeah, you're funny. I'm waiting for But when he gets into it to Bumpy Johnson.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, hey, well, where's Bumpy? Great show on MGM, by the way. Godfather of Harlem.
Mhm.
So those are the two quick takes. We're gonna do. I wanted to feature one, and then we ended up featuring two. I'm gonna feature two because this one, you and I kind of was unaware, forgot about it. Both caught it kind of the same time that it was on Peacock. Deserves a little extra attention, these two shows. So the first one is a
Mhm.
documentary, The Kings from Queens. It's on Peacock, dropping 3 episodes. It's 3 episodes long docu-series, and I saw the promos on Friday. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't realize it, because obviously this is about the Run DMC, right? I guess one of the most popular, hip hop artists, and that they're not the first to do it. They weren't the best, but without doubt, the most influential, without question, and probably the most important hip hop artist of all time. Um, because they're the ones that really kind of introduced hip hop to the mainstream, right? They were the first group to get regular airplay, get a record deal from. There wasn't just independent labels back in the day. They broke through and really kind of knocked the doors open, particularly, let's be honest, with white America, because you hit that market, you're gonna succeed. Which the floodgates were open once they were hitting it big. Beastie Boys came out after that. They kicked that door down, obviously, and hip hop took over. And obviously here he goes, all because of the result of these three guys: Jam Master Jay, rest in peace. DMC, and of course the Reverend Run. This one
Mhm.
here, listen, I look forward to it. 'Cause I'm a Run DMC guy. I think you and I both grew up listening to him when it first came out. And the Raising Hell, when that album came out, man, it was one of the tapes
You be
would
Ellen.
be in,
Dun, dun,
Reeling,
dun,
Peter
dun, dun,
Piper, and it's
dun.
tricky, my Adidas, and come on. Just the way that they dress, the influence on even in corporate America, right? Kind of
Mhm.
raising Adidas
I did
from
eyes. Mhm.
obscurity, right? Let's be honest, that they, their merchandise, and they weren't even trying to. They just how they dressed. But going over the beginnings, and Russell Simmons, of course, one of the producers and big brother of Run, and of
Yeah.
course Big Ruben, who should be mentioned. He was an architect of really pushing
Mhm.
it, Run DMC to a new level. Particularly with the whole Aerosmith stuff, really grows into it. It gets very emotional because of the tragic circumstances with Jam Master Jay towards the end. But this one, I love this one, and I think with any documentary and film, it just either a docu film, docu series, and like even biopics. This is kind of a mixture of both. Is
Mhm.
your how much you enjoy it depends on the level of how vested you are in what the subject matter, right? For me,
Mhm.
being a Run DMC guy, getting into hip hop back in the day, I was loving every second of this. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched all three yesterday. I was like, I got extra time. I couldn't stop it. This is an absolute must watch, particularly if you're a hip hop fan.
You're such a streaming whore.
It is what it is, man. I'm streaming horror. I heard it yesterday. I gotta admit, I'm guilty as charged. But listen, it was a great walk down memory lane. If you're a hip hop fan, you bet you younger, you may not know the history between Spectre and Run DMC, what their impact was on this music, which really everyone thought was going to be a fad. And it's funny getting interviews, they're talking to him, and they're like, yeah, everyone kept asking, what are you going to do in 2 years? Like thinking like this is
Yeah,
going
me
to be it,
too.
right? And who knew back then that hip hop became right now the predominant music genre right now currently for the most part. Yeah, a bunch of stars, Eminem's on here, and Dr. Dre and
I mean,
Ice,
no,
not
no,
Ice Cube,
Ice
Ice
Cube, Ice
Cube,
Cube, Ice
Chuck
Cube,
D,
Chuck
yeah, a
D,
bunch,
uh, uh, I
Salt
mean,
and
MC
Pepper,
Light,
MC Light, yeah,
Salt and Pepper,
hmm,
Ice T.
yeah,
I mean, they spared. I
Eminem,
mean,
yeah,
that's what to bring up. Yeah, I mean, they brought out the big guns because yeah, these guys were at the cusp of launching hip hop to the masses, right? I mean, there was some, but obviously they were not the first,
They
and
weren't the first. They weren't the first. There were others
they
existed.
grew up. I mean, at the mid to late '70s, at the onset of where hip hop was being developed and coming out. And there were some guys there, but none of them made it big. They were very regional, very
East Coast,
uh,
New
uh,
York,
yeah,
mainly
I mean,
Brooklyn.
very regionalized at that point because it wasn't hadn't spread, it hadn't gained the acceptance from the masses, right? Yeah, that's why it was still a fad, right? It was a new thing, but what really was it? And they came in at a time where this is where how they grew up, right? You know, the band was the turntables and a couple of guys
Mm-hmm.
on mics. That was it. That's all you need, right? And but with but they made it different from what it was when it was coming out at the time, right? I mean, they like I said, their introduction of the rock element wasn't by
Yes,
accident. This
thank you.
is
Yeah.
something that they enjoyed. That they did. I mean, like their first, literally the Kings of Rock after their second album, right? I mean, this is something that they saw as integral to them. It wasn't an act. It wasn't pretend. And you can see by how they sampled music and how the riffs they put into it and the sound that it had, it just naturally went that way when they got to Walk This Way and even beyond
Mm-hmm.
their albums beyond that. That was their sound. It was sick. They never they deviated once, but and they make a point of like DMC hated it. but short of that, they stuck to their guns and influenced a generation
Yeah,
and a
real
whole
quick. Yeah.
genre going forward, right? Because everyone knows. I mean, they are hip hop royalty for a
Oh,
reason.
they're legends. Yeah, everyone knows.
Yes,
I don't think there's any. Even I think LL J, who's interviewing him, and he's saying that if
yeah,
Mount
a lot of
Rushmore has
time,
four
yeah,
or five faces, three of them will be Run DMC, right?
right there.
And it is just the respect that they garner. Let's be honest. And even Tom
Mm.
Morello, who a guitarist from Rage Against the
Rage Against the
Machine,
Machine.
called them
Hmm.
the first real rock rap band, if per se, because a lot of them started coming up afterward, Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machines,
Hmm.
etc., etc.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it's true. Beastie Boys here too, right? Rock and I think,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
we're
because
there from a
even
couple of guys
I
on
mean,
Beastie Boys were there.
one of the demos was done by Rim DNC, and then Rick Rubin kind of gave it to Beastie Boys.
Yeah,
That was that. What was the name of the song? The first one that came out,
License,
"Fight for Your Right."
yeah,
Yeah,
if License to Ill was the album, which was huge,
yeah,
massive
yeah.
success, and
Mm-hmm.
if you watch it, this is an interesting point that LL Cool J makes with them and how they were to break through and the ease of it, which I thought was fascinating. Something we don't really think about. Like when it comes to
Yeah,
race, yeah,
yeah,
that was really
them
cool.
versus Beastie Boys.
Yeah,
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 which we didn't. I mean,
it
yeah,
was
I didn't even
fascinating,
think about.
right?
Right?
But there was no
Yes, yeah,
BC Boys
absolutely.
without Run DMC. This is make that
Yes.
clear. So very cool
Mhm.
documentary. Absolutely must watch it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. If you're into hip hop, I just
No, it
put
was
it on.
great.
Yeah,
Like I said,
really
it
good.
was
Yeah,
entertaining. It was funny. It was interesting.
yeah,
It was insightful, right?
yeah.
Because
Very.
you really don't know much about, maybe you know a little bit about how they grew up, but nothing, like they even said in the documentary, you may know the artists, but these are real people with real problems in real lives,
Exactly.
and the struggles that they went through, gaining fame, and then maybe not so much losing it, but just having to deal with it
Well,
and part of the
and
lives
the
and
artist dealing
with
with with
families and
aging
how
out.
you
Yeah, exactly.
yes, how
Yeah,
you evolve and how you grow as people, not so much as
it's interesting
superstars,
how all
right?
three took a different path after their notoriety or fame, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
For the most part, so very very fascinating. This is absolute must watch. Very cool. Again on Peacock, 3 episodes. Yeah, much fun.
Absolutely,
The next thing we'll
absolutely.
feature, not because it's great, because it's worth the conversation. And that's Mr. and Mrs. Smith. This was an Amazon show dropping its 8 episodes. Yeah, I actually got a chance to see three of them on early in the theater. I think on Tuesday night. Um, so I'm like six in because I saw a couple. From I was already 3 episodes ahead by the time it came out, so I saw 3 episodes so far. So I'm up to six.
Mhm.
This one here, of course, initially you feel like it's a Mr. and Mrs. Smith, of course, a reboot or whatever of the movie with Jolie and Brad Pitt and all that. With both of them are married and unbeknownst to each other, they're both assassins, right? In rival
Mhm.
organizations and all that, and they discover who they are. And if one continues, this one takes a different approach, right? You have a
Mhm.
married couple, right, who are married because of who they work for, right? They're both, I guess,
They're put together as a marriage
right,
as an act,
as a
not
as a
as
cover,
the
right?
people that knew each other.
Exactly. And
Yes.
they're both not saying they're spies. They don't really get into their path. I know one like Glover. Donald Glover. He's got military background for the most part.
Yeah,
Just
and I think
discharged.
she tried to FBI or CIA
CIA, and
and
yeah, she wasn't accepted. Right.
didn't.
So I
Yeah.
think they answered an ad to take a job, and it's an organization of which they don't even know who it is. Right. They know it's someone
Hmm.
who put them together, and they go out and do these jobs. Right.
And they
The
gave
high
an
risk.
assignment,
Yeah, high risk
a very
assignments.
specific assignment, right? Pass fail. Um, but you don't know what the consequences if they defend because they say they have three chances, and so
Of course, and of course, them
you
together.
know,
It's interesting because they take dynamic where now they're kind of forming a relationship, right? As opposed to actually, like Brad Pitt and Jolie, being already in love and falling, the natural way.
mhm,
So I really like the aspect they took there. They should have even called it Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They could have called this anything else, right? Because I think it's just so different from that. As far as I'm concerned, right? I mean, it's just not the same premise for the most part.
mhm.
Because they're not even assassins, they're not spies per se, right? Not it isn't like Mission Impossible level spies or like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. These are trained badass assassins. They're just they have a
but
background.
but
They have
but
a background in
they
it,
they
but
yeah
they're not in
there
the
was some
world,
training because
right?
they do improvise because obviously one of the tasks that took second show was to interrogate a particular person,
Right.
John Turturro. So nice cameo from him. Very funny cameo.
Yeah, I think John Turturro.
Yeah. But obviously, so they're still learning how to work with each other, and so the communication is lacking between the two is with what one says and what one means, and what ends up happening.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
uh, they're definitely keen on spying the element, right, and tracking people
Mhm.
and at least getting through the first half of what the assignment is.
No, no, and the big focus here isn't on the missions, especially as you get to the episode 3, 4, and 5. It's more about them, their relationship. Even later on, where I'm at, they're going to marriage counseling. They're at that point already, right? Like legitimately have to go see a marriage counselor. And they kind of use the mission to illustrate their issues, marital issues, right? Very cool. I like the focus on that. I mean, it's not action heavy. This is not the point of the show. It's more about them to their chemistry, which really worked for me. I thought it was really good. I mean, is it great? No, I'm not saying it is. And I'm saying it's must watch. But I was very entertained. I like the fact that it was different from the film. A lot different. I thought walking into it, I was expecting more Mr. and Mrs. Smith was what I saw in the film for the most part.
Well, I mean,
You know,
like the opening sequence was because it's literally a couple and they're being chased and it's a shootout, but they go down with guns blazing, right?
mm-hmm.
So that's how they set up the show. And there's some of those elements within the first 2 or 3 episodes. We have a big explosion. We got a
Sure.
shootout in the end. Was it the Alps? Yeah, it was the Alps.
Yeah.
So there's that element, at least in the first few episodes. So, but that is not the what the show is
Yeah,
about.
exactly. And,
I
and,
think
and it
for
moves a little away from that for the most part. There's an episode of Ron Perlman, which is really good as well. I think that's the fourth one.
okay,
But it's a
cool.
fun show. It's a fun show. It's entertaining. They have really cool chemistry between the two of them, which is fascinating. And that's where it becomes relatable. Being in a married relationship, we all have those kind of fights and nonsense that you see all the time. I think I lost Chewie there for a second, so my apologies for that. Let's see if I can get him back here. And I think I got Chewie back. I'm not sure. Chewie, you there?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you are there. Okay, so yeah, sorry about that, folks. He's back. Technical issues, that happens all the time. But yeah, so overall, an enjoyable show. Definitely recommend on Amazon. Again, dropping its 8 episode run, and you can watch it now with commercials like Chewie does. But that being said, pay your $3, people. So those are the shows.
But look. These are Amazon Prime commercial. That's it. They don't break up the show with 101 commercials in between. I'm just saying.
There you
I'm
go.
just saying.
There you go. So either way, so yeah. So those are the shows for the week, guys. So like I said, a couple of things you definitely should invest your time in. I think every show you should invest your time in for the most part that we've seen this week. Which is it's a rare thing, right? So some more than others. Our features are, I think, two big winners for the week as far as me personally. Now next week, we're gone for a couple weeks, so we're gonna give you 3 weeks worth of stuff. A lot of shows coming out. Let's start with this first week on the 8th. It's February, so yeah, a few days to catch up on some older shows before the new ones start dropping. That's on Max. On the 8th is Tokyo Vice Season 2. Wasn't a huge fan of the first one, to be honest. It was okay. It was a little slow. I'm hoping things pick up this season. Ken Watanabe is one of the big names here, and I forget the name of the main character. My
The
apologies.
guy from Baby Driver.
Baby Driver, yeah. Austin, I forget. Either way, but it was a good show. I mean, I liked it. Yeah, but season 2 is coming out. It's dropping on the 8th, so I'm hoping that gets better. Another one I have mixed feelings on, Chewy, and I remember how you felt about it. And that's Halo season 2 dropping as same day on Paramount. Um,
I like season one.
yeah, it
I
was
mean, I
fine.
have issues with it.
I,
Look. I know what a lot of these shows.
it was fine, and
When you try, no, yeah, but when you try to appease a section of the audience that is hardcore, wants it how they saw it, either in the comic aka Eric Da Silva, or in the video game, or in the lore. And then whenever it deviates, it's like, but
Yeah,
that's not how it was
it's
written. It's like,
tough. It's
okay,
tough.
stop, guys.
But
It's hard to please
no,
everybody.
of course. But I mean,
But I
but it's not
enjoyed
a
it.
it's not a great show. It's not like, oh my, it's not much watch television. No,
No,
of
but
course not.
it was very entertaining. It was fun, and I would say it's a property that we enjoyed. We played, Halo back in the day on the Xbox and Xbox 360, and so we know what it's about, and that's we just want to see an original story. That's all I care.
No, no, I got this.
And
But yeah,
and
season two. Hopefully, season two is better than season one.
I
Looking
from
forward
what
to
I
it.
hear, yes, but
Looking
they made
forward to
some
it. Yeah.
changes.
Yeah, I'm sure
They
drop.
made some changes. I hear it's gonna be better.
I'm sure that'll be a weekly release as is Tokyo Vice. On the ninth,
And I don't care. I don't care if I see his face, man. I really don't. So stop.
I, I,
Stop complaining,
I see
people.
both
Stop
on that one. I see
complaining.
both arguments. I really do. Because he's a terrible face and he's dopey looking. That being said, we got Love Stalker Killer. He is. I'm sorry. Love Stalker Killer on Netflix, a documentary. I'm not sure if it's a film or a series. It's
It's
interesting.
a film.
It's a film. Okay, so I got a man who goes online to find love, of course, and he finds someone, a woman who ends up being not what he thought it was, and I guess hits dangerous levels. If I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
You've seen some of these before, and actually pretty good. So I'm looking forward to that one if I get a chance to see it or not. The following week, big week, we got Apple dropping a new show. We like Apple, and it's funny. I forgot to mention because last shows that I showed Apple dropped was Masters of Air. We both really enjoyed that one.
Mhm.
That last episode was fantastic, by the way.
No man.
Yeah, it was so good. I was like, wow, that's next level like filmmaking. I'll say filmmaking because it's like movies, cinematic style action sequence. The whole episode is one big kind of dogfight kind of thing.
Mhm.
Fantastic episode. But that being said, it just gets me excited more for new Apple stuff, and we have here the new look. I think Ben Mendelsohn is the main character. There's one. What's this about? It's a drama, right?
Yeah, this is a drama. Looks like it's the new look. It revolves around the fashion
There
industry
we go. Yes.
or a fashion designer. If I'm mistaken. Ben Mendelsohn, but there's also a couple other one more character I saw. I can't remember the name.
I
I
think
saw the face.
yeah, there is. I forgot to look at the actor list, but yeah,
Yeah.
but it's Apple, so I'm looking forward to it now. Like with Masters of the Air hitting the way it did, I'm like, nah, I'm excited again for Apple Plus, so I'm looking forward to that. On Sci-Fi, one of your shows, Chewy, as Resident Alien, Sci-Fi Peacock as well. Peacock,
Peacock.
combine the forces.
Season 3,
Season three.
Alan Tudyk.
There you go. I heard good. I never got a chance to see it. To be honest with you, catch up on it, but I heard good things about it. I know you really enjoyed that one, so that drops on the 14th
Mhm.
on Valentine's Day special there. On the 15th, so if you're single, you broke up on that day, yeah, you got stuff to occupy your time, and that's the Vince Staples show. He's a comedian. I guess he's getting his own sitcom kind of ish on Netflix. Not
Mhm.
familiar with him, to be honest with you. And then the same day we got the House of Ninjas, which I finally saw a
Right.
trailer yesterday. They released a trailer late.
Mhm.
It's got ninjas. Come on, there's nothing else that need to be said as far as I'm concerned. But it's a Japanese show. It got a family who used to be ninjas, and now they're kind of called back
Mhm.
into action from an unknown force of ninjas. 'Cause ninjas, come on. This just Goldberg all over. I'm very excited about this. This is one I'm hoping I'm able to talk about when we return in a few weeks. Is that one again on Netflix on the 15th? On the 16th, I believe that's on a Friday. That's a documentary of Albert Einstein and the bomb,
Movie,
which
I believe.
right, yeah,
Yes.
riding
Yeah.
the coattails of
Einstein and the
Oppenheimer,
Bomb.
yeah, of
Mhm.
course, with I guess I would assume Einstein's involvement in the hydrogen bomb and all that. I'm assuming. True, am I wrong with that? I haven't seen the trailer for this, to be honest with you.
I don't know, man. I just saw
Okay.
Einstein. I was like, okay, man.
Yeah, it looks
Like I
interesting.
said,
Yeah,
we got a glimpse of him in Oppenheimer. Very
exactly.
small
Yeah, a
glimpse.
very glimpse. So I'm sure it's more, obviously, more about him, his involvement. So it looks interesting. And this is a show. It's always worth mentioning, and we're gonna mention it. And finally, it's getting his. We'll hopefully get his due. And that's on the 16th. Warrior, which was on Cinemax, then went on Max. Obviously, ended his third season run. Canceled, unfortunately. It's a show. We love this show, right? It's awesome. It's great, and I'm begging people out there to watch this show. This needs to be a Suits kind of thing, so we can get another season. Even if it's just one more
Hmm.
season, to give us a proper send off to the characters.
Yes.
That's all I want. So, Warrior. This show above anything we just mentioned so far, this is the show to watch. I haven't seen the other ones, but I can't imagine those shows being better than Warrior. Not even
No.
House of Ninjas.
Warrior is.
Not even Ninjas.
Yeah. No, this movie won't be good as action as Warrior. I tell you
I mean,
that right
I
now.
hope it is. I hope it is. I'm hoping Ninjas is better than Warrior. I really do, because that means Warrior. I mean, Ninjas will be amazing, right? I don't think it is, but maybe. But anyway, but Warrior, yeah, that's the show to watch. Put this in your put that on your watch list on Netflix. You guys gotta watch this, absolutely. And then the third week we'll be back to talk about probably these shows and maybe some of the ones if they hit big on Apple. Again, talking about Apple Plus, they're giving us two shows back to back. That's kind of rare for them. Constellation, starring Naomi Pace. Pace,
Replace.
if I'm saying that right.
Replace.
Who I like, doesn't make great choices in what she's in, but she's good. This was like a sci-fi adventure. She's an astronaut or something, comes back home and I guess brings back or whatever entity of space, an alien or something to that effect that's affecting her life. So I'm kind of hope that it's not typical of the it's all in her mind. I hope it's like a legit entity. I don't want this.
I hope it's not invasion.
Oh God. Look, the other show is an alien. This is not an alien invasion film, so that
She's only in the first episode. That's it.
Let's see.
The ultimate
The
bait.
bait and switch. She dies, and that's someone else, her daughter. Lucy or Ron Pace or something. But listen, it looks cool, interesting, sci-fi, high value production. So it's Apple. Why not? We got the last season of Bad Batch on the 21st on Disney Plus. I saw it. That show wasn't even worthy me introducing in that fashion, so I'll leave it at that. And then the 22nd, a show I think Chewy and I are both excited about. I think a lot of people are, and that's The Last Airbender. This is the big release of the month, right? Based off the very, very popular, property, and the movie was terrible.
The animation,
and then the animated series
the,
is huge, is big. This is I guess fantasy show, and the kid who's control all the elements and whatever the case is. I'm not too familiar with the lore of the Airbender, but it looks cool as hell. The trailers look really good, and we've seen Netflix really hone in this kind of stuff and do really good with it, right? And show the respect that it needs, because they understand, like what's the last one, One Piece, right?
with that, which is also the manga, which is obviously still in production as an animation, but with the live action, I mean, they gave it its proper due, and I think everyone's hoping that this is getting the same. Well, we see it's getting the same treatment, and hopefully it's just as good or even better.
Oh yeah, I hope better.
But
Netflix knows is like you talk about Halo, right? Pleasing the fans and stuff, and I think Netflix knows the importance of that, right? When they didn't do it, something like Cowboy Bebop, right? They didn't kind of respect the property. It didn't go right. Yeah. And when they do One Piece, it goes great. We've seen them, tack on that. They do very good animation. So looking forward to this. Looks very cool. And this one actually I'm very, very excited about. We'll definitely be talking about this one, good or bad. Obviously if it's bad, it's something to talk about when we reconvene in 3 weeks. So that being said, listen, we leave you guys with a lot of stuff to watch from this week and of course the next 3 weeks. A lot of things going on there. I'll try to do my best when I'm away to watch some of this stuff. It is what it is, and maybe I'll start watching Warrior. I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna throw in Warrior, even if it's in the background. I'm working, and just leave it on. I don't have to watch it. Just put in the living room, leave it on. I come work, and whatever, right? Just so I can do my part. Get us some rating, get us some views, guys. Get us some views. We need season 4.
With the Suits treatment.
Give it the Suits treatment. And this is way better than Suits. I haven't seen Suits, but I can't imagine Suits being better than Warrior. I just can't. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, it's different.
I know it's different. I get it. It's apples and oranges.
Suits has got no fighting.
Right.
Not hand-to-hand
different
combat,
kind of show,
but
gun to your head. Gun to your head. What are you watching? You're watching Warrior.
I'm watching Warrior.
And that's what I'm saying. Or in this case, hatchet to your head for those who watch the show.
I don't need a gun to my head. I'm watching Warrior.
Exactly my point. But that being said, there's a lot of stuff out there. We'll see you guys in 3 weeks. Enjoy all the streaming stuff on there. Pay your $3. Don't pay your $3. Whatever. Go the Chewy route and see some ads and see the Geico commercials 8,000 times. The caveman. I'm getting sick of that guy already.
I love Flo. I love Flo.
That being said, enjoy the Super Bowl next week, obviously as well. And we'll see you guys in 3 weeks. Take care.
Peace.